Welcome, everyone. It is Christmas Eve. Oh, yes, it is. And so, ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. Listen, whether you celebrate or you don't celebrate, it is irrelevant. It is irrelevant. Do you know why? Because wherever you are the life of the party. You are the life of the party. Whatever it is, we just need to know the days are getting longer now, incrementally. And whichever it is, whatever you practice, whatever you celebrate, know why you celebrate. And that's it, right? No two people celebrate the same. But I know tonight we'll read and we will comprehend, won't we? The Power of Awareness, Chapter 20, Righteousness. Listen, let me make sure my volumes are up before I get crack-a-lacking. Put that in there. Yes, I've pasted my... Oh, Queen Morat. Well, well, well. Thank you, and same to you, my beloved. I have not seen you in forever. And say hello to the girls. And say ho, 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 Merry Christmas to the girls, if you celebrate that kind of thing. And it is good to see you. It is. Yes, indeed, it is. Now, listen. Tonight, we're going to read chapter 20, Righteousness. In the preceding chapter, righteousness was defined as the consciousness of already being what you want to be. Righteousness was defined as the consciousness of already being what you want to be. This is the true psychological meaning, and obviously does not refer to adherence to moral codes, civil law, or religious precepts. You cannot attach too much importance to being righteous. In fact, the entire Bible is permeated with admonition and exhortations on the subject. Break off thy sins by righteousness. Daniel 4, verse 27. My righteousness I hold fast and will not let it go. My heart shall not reproach me so long as I live. Job 27, verse 6. My righteousness shall answer for me in time to come. Genesis 30, verse 33. Very often, the words sin and righteousness are used in the same quotation. This is a logical contrast of opposites and becomes enormously significant in the light of the psychological meaning of righteousness and the psychological meaning of sin. Sin means to miss the mark, not to attain your desire, not to be the person you want to be, is sinning. Righteousness is the consciousness of already being what you want to be. Oh, that's not what I learned in church, Angela. Can you say it again? Maybe it'll make more sense. Sin means to miss the mark, not to attain your desire, not to be the person you want to be, is sinning. Righteousness is the consciousness of already being what you want to be. It is a changeless educative law that effects must follow causes. Oh, what did you say? Every cause has its effect and every effect has its cause. Only by righteousness can you be saved from sinning. Only by righteousness can you be saved from sinning. But what is righteousness? Righteousness is the consciousness of already being what you want to be. And if you are conscious of what you want to be, if you're conscious of already being that, well, then you will never miss the mark, will you? That's why it says only by righteousness can you be saved from sinning. There is a widespread misunderstanding as to what it means to be saved from sin. The following example will suffice to demonstrate this misunderstanding and to establish the truth. A person living in abject poverty may believe that by means of some religious or philosophical activity, he can be saved from sin and his life improved as a result. If, however, he continues to live in the same state of poverty, it is obvious that what he believed was not the truth, and in fact, he was not saved. On the other hand, he can be saved by righteousness. The successful use of the law of assumption would have the inevitable result of an actual change in his life. He would no longer live in poverty. He would no longer miss the mark. He would be saved from sin. Except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees. Ye shall in no wise enter the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5, verse 20. Scribes and Pharisees means those who are influenced and governed by the outer appearances, the rules and customs of the society in which they live, the vain desire to be thought well of by other men. Unless this state of mind is exceeded, your life will be one of limitation, of failure to attain your desires, of missing the mark, of sin. This righteousness is exceeded by true righteousness, which is always the consciousness of already being that which you want to be. One of the greatest pitfalls in attempting to use the law of assumption is focusing your attention on things. Let me say it again, because the sentence is not finished, you know. One of the greatest pitfalls in attempting to use the law of assumption is focusing your attention on things: a new home, a better job, a bigger bank balance. This is not the righteousness without which you die in your sins. John 8:24. Righteousness is not the thing itself, it is the consciousness, the feeling of already being the person you want to be, of already having the thing you desire. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Matthew 6, verse 33. The kingdom, entire creation of God, your I am, is within you. Righteousness is the awareness that you already possess it all. What is righteousness again? Righteousness is the awareness that you already possess it all. Chapter 21, free will. Listen, you better buckle up for this one, Buttercup. Buckle up. The question is often asked, what should be done between the assumption of the wish fulfilled and its realization? Hmm. What should be done between the assumption of the wish fulfilled and its realization? Whatever should I do? Nothing. Nothing. It is a delusion that, other than assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you can do anything to aid the realization of your desire. I don't understand, Angela. You think that you can do something. You want to do something, but actually you can do nothing. The illusion of the free will to do is but ignorance of the law of assumption upon which all action is based. Why do explain? Or as a Dalek would say, explain. Everything happens automatically. All that befalls you, all that is done by you happens. It happens. Your assumptions, conscious or unconscious, direct all thought and action to their fulfillment. Oh, to understand the law of assumption, to be convinced of its truth, means getting rid of all the illusions about free will to act. Free will actually means freedom to select any idea you desire. Free will means what? To select any idea you desire. By assuming the idea already to be a fact, it is converted into reality. Beyond that, free will ends and everything happens in harmony with the concept assumed. I can of mine own self do nothing, because I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father which hath sent me. John 5, verse 30. In this quotation, the Father obviously refers to God. In an earlier chapter, God is defined as I am. And since creation is finished, the Father is never in a position of saying, I will be. In other words, everything exists. And the infinite I am consciousness can speak only in the present tense. Present tense is not I will be. I will be implies future. Squidward. You're not the future. You're now. So, not my will, but thine be done. Oh, Luke 22, verse 42. Thy will be done. Thy will be done in my life. Oh Lord, thy will be done. Don't ask who wrote that song, but that was a long time ago. I will be is a confession that I am not. The Father's will is always I am. Until you realize that you are the Father, well, there is only one I am. There is only one I am, and your infinite self is that I am. Esther Hicks calls it your higher self. You can call it what you want. Higher self, higher consciousness, it is I am. Your infinite self. Hmm? In the law of assumption, your consciousness of being is the Father's will. The mere wish without this consciousness is the my will. Again, in the law of assumption, your consciousness of being is the Father's will. The mere wish without this consciousness is the my will. This great quotation, so little understood, is a perfect statement of the law of assumption. It is impossible to do anything. You must be in order to do. It is impossible to do anything. You must be in order to do. If you had a different concept of yourself, everything would be different. Why? Because you are what you are. So everything is as it is. The events which you observe are determined by the concept you have of yourself. If you change your concept of yourself, the events ahead of you in time are altered, but thus altered, they form again a deterministic sequence starting from the moment of this changed concept. You are a being with powers of intervention, which enable you by a change of consciousness to alter the course of observed events. In fact, to change your future. Well, tell me how to change my future, Angela. Tell me, what can I do to change my future? Deny the evidence of the senses and assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Deny the evidence of the senses. But Angela, my skin is brown. Deny the evidence of the senses. Inasmuch as your assumption is creative and forms an atmosphere, your assumption, if it be a noble one, increases your assurance and helps you to reach a higher level of being. The evidence of the senses says my skin is brown, but allegedly, brown means you have problems. You're not as good as the rest of society. Allegedly. That is the senses telling you what you've seen around you. But if you remember, we see around us and we perpetuate what's around us by continual belief in it. This brown skin is not a limitation. It is not a problem. It just means I have more melanin. It is not a weakness. It just means I have more melanin and I can handle a little bit more sunshine. That's all it means. It doesn't mean I am somehow lesser than everybody else. But if I believe that I am lesser than somebody, it is not the color of my skin that makes me lesser. It is the belief in my lesser than that makes me lesser than. I'm telling you, I'm not asking. If, on the other hand, your assumption be an unlovely one, it hinders you and makes your downward way swifter. Just as the lovely assumptions create a harmonious atmosphere, so the hard and bitter feelings create a hard and bitter atmosphere. You don't have to take my word for it. Matter of fact, don't. Why don't you test it for yourself? Listen, keep listening and we'll figure out how to test it. Whatsoever things are pure, just, lovely, of good report, think on these things. Philippians 4, verse 8. I wonder why. Why should I think on things that are pure, just, lovely, of good report? Why? This means to make your assumptions the highest, noblest, happiest concepts. There is no better time to start than now. The present moment is always the most opportune in which to eliminate all unlovely assumptions and to concentrate only on the good. As well as yourself, claim for others their divine inheritance. Why? Because as within, so without. If you are thinking things that are pure, just, lovely, of good report, well, as within, so without. But if you are thinking things that are unlovely, jealous, bitter, anger, rage, as within, so without. That principle will never conform to you because you say, but I really want my life to change. The principle tells you as within, so without. So change how you feel about you here on the inside. Yeah, but I don't even believe what I feel about me on the inside. Well, what do you believe? You believe somebody else's nonsense that they told you. So let me ask you a question. You want to believe somebody's nonsense, but you refuse to believe your own nonsense? Okay, carry on. That's what, listen, I will believe my nonsense before I pick up somebody else's nonsense and run with it. That's what I'm trying to tell you tonight. So, whatever is pure, just, lovely, of good report, think on those things. Just think on them. Because something happens to you and you think on them. You feel them. And as you feel them, you experience them. So it is in the same fashion that the pendulum swings. Good and just and lovely and pure. You get those back. Really? Yes. Unjust, unlovely, bitter, angry. I wonder what I will get back. Hmm. Huh. Let us carry on. See only their good and the good in them, oh Lord. That's a hard pill to swallow. See only their good and the good in them. But Angela, there is no good in them. I can't see it. I did that today. I refused to see any good in that particular person today. Ooh, I sure did. I did. But I can't beat myself up. I cannot. But I must caution myself. If I don't see the good in others, it means I'm not looking for good. So if I am not looking for good, what am I looking for? And well, if I'm looking for it, it's in my bosom, and then I get to experience it. Oh, God, I don't want that. So what we gonna do? See only their good and the good in them. Stir the highest in others to confidence and self assertion by your sincere assumption of their good, and you will be their prophet and their healer. For an inevitable fulfillment awaits all sustained assumptions. You win by assumption what you can never win by force. Hmm. What you say? I said, you win by assumption what you can never win by force. An assumption is a certain motion of consciousness. This motion, like all motion, exercises an influence on the surrounding substance, causing it to take the shape of echo and reflect the assumption. A change of fortune is a new direction and outlook, merely a change in arrangement of the same mind substance or consciousness. If you would change your life, you must begin at the very source with your own basic concept of self. Outer change, becoming part of organizations, political bodies, religious bodies, is not enough. The cause goes deeper. The essential change must take place in yourself, in your concept of self. Hmm. I wonder how many groups are out here. I wonder how many groups are out in the world. I could name one. Republicans, Democrats, so many groups and factions. But we want the outer change without having done an inner change. The essential change must take place in yourself, in your own concept of yourself. You must assume that you are what you want to be and continue therein, for the reality of your assumption has its being in complete independent of objective fact, and it will clothe itself in flesh if you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You understand what that meant? You must assume that you are what you want to be and continue therein. For the reality of your assumption has its being in complete independence of objective fact, which means you don't need to see it to know that it's there. You know that it is there. And because you know that it is there, then it must be there. And that is why it can clothe itself in flesh if you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you know that assumptions, if persisted in, harden into facts, then events which seem to the uninitiated mere accidents will be understood by you to be the logical and inevitable effects of your assumption. Angela, say that again. When you know that assumptions, if persisted in, they harden into facts, then events which seem to the uninitiated, it seems to them, oh my goodness, what a coincidence. How did that accident? It's not an accident, but you will understand the inevitable effects of your assumption. The important thing to bear in mind is that you have infinite free will in choosing your assumption, but no power to determine conditions and events. What was that? You have infinite free will in choosing your assumptions, but you have no power to determine conditions and events. Why not? Because the moment you choose the assumption is the cause. And every cause has its effect. The effect only happens by way of the cause, not because you force it. So that's what it means that you have infinite free will in choosing your assumptions, but you have no power to determine conditions and events. Let me explain it to you in this fashion. You decided to plant corn. Hmm. Where's your power to determine how that shows up? Nowhere. You chose corn, so you can only get corn. Because you can create nothing. I can create nothing, but your assumption determines what portion of creation you will experience. What was that? You can create nothing, or we can create nothing, but our assumption determines what portion of creation you will experience. We will read this final chapter, chapter 22, persistence. And he said unto them, which of you shall have a friend, and shall go unto him at midnight, and say unto him, friend, lend me 3 loaves, for a friend of mine in his journey is come to me, and I have nothing to set before him. And he from within shall answer and say, go away, trouble me not. The door is now shut, and my children are with me in bed. I cannot rise and give thee. I say unto you, though he will not rise and give him, because he is a friend, yet because of his importunity, he will rise and give him as many as he needeth. And I say unto you, ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Luke 11, verse 5 through 9. What's that even mean, Angela? You're not getting out of bed to give him those loaves of bread because he's your friend. No, you're not. Because you already, listen, listen, you can see I'm in my pajamas already. I'm not going back outside. Not even for my closest, you could be my daddy. I'm not going back outside. But you know what will make me go? The importunity, the person's persistence in asking will make me go. That's what that means. There are 3 principal characters in this quotation, you and the 2 friends mentioned. The first friend is a desired state of consciousness. The second friend is a desire seeking fulfillment. Third is the symbol of wholeness, completion. Loaves symbolize substance. The shut door symbolizes the senses, which separate the seen from the unseen. Children in bed means ideas that are dormant. The inability to rise means a desired state of consciousness cannot rise to you. You must rise to it. A desired state of consciousness cannot rise to you. You must rise to it. Importunity means demanding persistency, a kind of brazen impudence. Ask, seek, and knock mean assuming the consciousness of already having what you desire. Ask, seek, and knock mean assuming the consciousness of already having what you desire. Why? Because when you ask, you expect to be answered. When you seek, you expect to find. And when you knock, you expect, hello? So if you expect those things, it means you are in the consciousness of already having what you desire. Well, you would never ask if you didn't expect to receive. Why else would you ask? You ask because you expect to get. So you are in the consciousness of already having what you desire. You don't go looking without the expectation of finding. Let me tell you something. Since June, I've been looking for my essential oil, lime. I love me citrus, lime, and lemon, but not orange. It's too heavy. Mm. But the lemon and lime are nice and light. And I've been looking for the lime since June. Today I got mad enough and I said, yeah, I want the lime. Show me where it is. I took it upstairs. I took it upstairs. But I found it. I wanted to show it to you, but I took it upstairs. You better believe I found the lime. What's the difference between now and June? Man, I just didn't really care. I was just like, if I find it, I find it. If I don't, I don't. But tonight I really wanted it. I really, really wanted my lime essential oil tonight. And I said, show it to me. And it was like this invisible string that pulled me. And I went right to the box. I put my hand in the box. I shuffled around a little bit. And what do you think my hand felt? My hand felt, oh, this feels like a little bottle. Picked it up, lime. I'm going to get it for you. But the point of this thing here, it says ask, seek, and knock means assuming the consciousness of already having what you desire. When I said show me, I expected to see. We don't do anything without the expectation of having it. Hmm. Thus, the scriptures tell you that you must persist in rising. Rising, or assuming, to the consciousness of your wish already being fulfilled. The promise is definite that if you are shameless in your impudence, in assuming that you already have that which your senses deny, well, it shall be given unto you. Your desire shall be attained. Why? Because you are shameless in your impudence, in assuming that you already have that which your senses deny. The Bible teaches the necessity of persistence by the use of many stories. When Jacob sought a blessing from the angel with whom he wrestled, he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. Genesis 32, verse 26. He said, I will not let you go. Well, he persisted in holding on, didn't he? Oh, hello. When the Shunammite sought the help of Elisha, she said, as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And he arose and followed her. 2 Kings 4, verse 30. The same idea is expressed in another passage. And he spake a parable unto them that men ought always to pray and not to faint, saying, there was in a city a judge, which feared not God, neither regarded man. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, avenge me of mine adversary. And he would not for a while. But afterward he said within himself, I fear not God, and I have no regard for man. But this widow, she troubleth me. Or as a good friend of mine says, she fussed with my soul. That's what she did. Because she is fussing with my soul, I said the word fussing. Let's not get it twisted. Because this widow is fussing with my soul, let me tell you, I will avenge her, okay? Lest she weary me by her continued coming, her persistence. And that is Luke 18, verse 1 through 5. He said, now this is, in Barbados, you would call it a big hard back man. He's a judge. He's a big old man. And he said, I don't fear God. I don't even care about man so much. But this woman, she gonna wear me out. So let me just do what she wants. The basic truth underlying each of these stories is that desire springs from the awareness of ultimate attainment, and that persistence in maintaining the consciousness of desire already being fulfilled results in its fulfillment. Desire springs from the awareness of ultimate attainment. To attain is to get. And that persistence in maintaining the consciousness of the desire already being fulfilled results in its fulfillment. Why, Angela? Because you are focused on fulfillment within. Oh, snap. As within, so without. Fulfillment within, fulfillment on the outside. But if you walking around unfulfilled on the inside, I don't have. I'm longing. I don't think it's possible to just use my imagination to get what I want. Well, then we are forever going to be longing and hoping and wishing and pining and never getting. It is not enough to feel yourself into the state of the answered prayer. You must persist in that state. Listen, it is not enough to feel yourself into the state of the answered prayer. You must persist in that state. But we don't like to persist. Sometimes we like to persist in complaining. You see, but we only know how to persist. We don't know how not to persist. It is our nature to persist, but we choose what we want to persist in. Don't get it twisted. You and I always persist. We are like the widow, wearing out that judge. He heard the doorbell ring. He goes, damn it, it's that widow again. He said, the party you're trying to reach is currently unavailable. She came back again. And he said it, the party you're trying to reach is currently unavailable. Until the third, fourth, fifth, 10th time she came, he goes, oh God, oh, let me just do what she wants or she's going to drive me mad. Persist in the state of the answered prayer. Persist in the state of the answered prayer. Persist. That is the reason for the injunction. Man ought always to pray and not to faint. Luke 18, verse 1. Here to pray means to give thanks for already having what you desire. What does prayer mean again? I didn't hear you. To give thanks for already having what you desire. That is prayer. Because think about it for a minute. When you pray, Heavenly Father, I come before you. I beg you, Lord, save me, Jesus. Lord, I'm so scared. Lord, what am I going to do? What's on the inside? Begging and pleading and not having is on the inside. What do you expect to get back? Begging and pleading and praying and not having. So when you give thanks for already having what you desire, you have prayed and you persist. Only persistency in the assumption of the wish fulfilled can cause those subtle changes in your mind, which result in the desired change in your life. It matters not whether they be angels, Elisha, or a reluctant judge. All must respond in harmony with your persistent assumption. All, not some, all must respond in harmony with your persistent assumption. When it appears that people other than yourself in your world do not act towards you as you would like, oh, it is not due to reluctance on their part. I don't like that. I do not like that. But I have to say it again because it makes sense. If you're talking about the principles of creation, that makes sense. As within, so without. Listen to it again. Don't be insulted when you hear it like I was just now. I said, ooh, that was like a hot two-edged sword. Cut me but seared me at the same time. It cut me but cauterized. So I didn't bleed out. It cauterized. It healed me as it cut me. But listen, when it appears that people other than yourself, no, let me stop and start again. Let me say it in the most sweet way. Let me say it in the most gentle way that I possibly can. When it appears that people other than yourself in your world do not act toward you as you would like them to, it is not due to reluctance on their part, but a lack of persistence in your assumption of your life already being as you want it to be. I gotta say that again till it soothes me, Lord Jesus. When it appears that people other than yourself in your world do not act toward you as you would like, it is not due to reluctance on their part, but a lack of persistence in your assumption of your life already being as you want it to be. Ah, she. So type A at work, it is not due to reluctance on her part. Oh, no, it's not. It is due to a lack of persistence in my assumption that my life is already as I want it to be. Oh my God. I, uh, whew. When it appears that people other than yourself in your world do not act toward you as you would like, it is not due to reluctance on their part, It is due to a lack of persistence in what? That my life is already as I want it to be. See, now, if I believed that my life was as I want it to be, beautiful and fantastic, how could she then come along and upset my cabbage cart? She could not. Because my assumption is that my life is already as I want it to be. And it is perfect. It is beautiful. So how can anybody come along and say, no, it's not? How can they come along and disturb me? They cannot. But because I lack the persistence to say that my life is as I want it to be, she can come in the door because I called her. Damn it. I hate crow. It don't matter how you dress it up. It don't matter how much ketchup and mustard you put on crow. It still tastes bad. Damn it. So when it appears that people other than yourself in your world do not act toward you as you would like, it is not due to a reluctance on their part, but it is due to a lack of persistence in my assumption that my life is already, let me read it, that my life already is as I want it to be. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. That's what my grandmother always used to say to me. So because somebody doesn't like me, what's that got to do with me? If I am busy walking and living in the assumption that my life is as I want it to be. The buck stops here. The buck stops here. If you don't like me, that's all right. Am I walking in the assumption that my life is as I want it to be? And if I'm walking in the assumption that my life is as I want it to be, well, then what can man do to me? Your assumption to be effective cannot be a single isolated act. It must be a maintained attitude of the wish fulfilled. And that maintained attitude that gets you there so that you think from your wish fulfilled instead of thinking about your wish is aided by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled frequently. It is the frequency, not the length of time, that makes it natural. It is the frequency, not the length of time, that makes it natural. And we keep looking at our watch and tapping our toe, talking about, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? It is the frequency, meaning how many times, not as in voltage or wattage, right? Because frequency too, huh? The frequency means how many times are you doing this thing? But frequency also means wattage and ohms and hertz. You know, it's 400 watts. That's a frequency. 444, 432 hertz. That's a frequency. So you could either have it in kymatics, which is sound, to measure sound frequency, or how many times you do something. So let me say that to you again. It is the frequency, not the length of time, that makes it natural. That to which you constantly return constitutes your truest self. Frequent occupancy of the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret of success. Well, hot diggity dog. That is the end of chapter 2. But tonight, before we go into the silence, let me just recognize everybody who's here. Queen Marat. Viewing pleasure. Well, I'm glad you caught the live too. Queen Marat. She says, my name is Faith. You're you're Queen Marat's daughter? I always ask about you, you girls. Every time I talk to her, I always ask her about the girls. And here you are introducing yourself to me tonight. Well, Faith, what a pleasure it is to meet you tonight. What a pleasure. What a pleasure it is to meet you. Your mother is phenomenal, you know, just so we know. I know how it is. People say that, and you're like, but that's just my mom. I'm telling you, she's phenomenal. Because I know your mama. So she is. Mm, mm, mm. Burnt skillet. How you over here, too? Listen, burnt skillet. I see you. I see you. Because I can't see fan base right now because I'm in it, but I'm not of it. I am of Kindle right now. Oh, wow. Mm. Whew. Why, thank you. Man, it's a little sheep. It's a little sheep. But listen, this this last two paragraphs shook me to my core tonight. So as I go into the silence tonight, God, as I go into the silence tonight, I just told you I don't like eating crow. You know when you have to eat something, you have to eat your words. This is it right here. When it appears that people other than yourself and your world do not act towards you as you would like, it is not due to reluctance, but a lack of persistence in my assumption that my life already is as I want it to be. Do you do you know how powerful that statement is? Listen, Burnt Skillet, I don't know if you were in the room earlier tonight when we were having a conversation. You guys got to see some of my life. You guys got to see some of my life. But you see, when Paul says, when I was a child, I spake as a child, I behaved as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. In other words, when I became a grown up, I put away childish things. So when I was a child, I did not understand why people didn't like me. I shouldn't say people, family. When I was a child, I did not understand. But sure as the day is long, I'm sitting here tonight and I'm telling you, I get it now. That's a line from a movie. Yes, Romeo must die with Aaliyah. When she goes, I didn't get it then, but I get it now. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See? I get it now. It has nothing to do with anybody but you. When you take the fact and you say, I am, and my life is worth living, and my life is worth living abundantly and beautifully, and you don't give a, we have children in the space, and you don't give a hot diggity dog what anybody else thinks. Do you know how beautiful of a life you will have? Because you persist in that. You persist in the fact that it is your right to be here and right to have a good life in spite of all the things that you've been through. In spite of all the things you've been through, in spite of all the hardship you've come through, it is your right to be here and nobody can take it from you. You walk in that assumption persistently, you will be in my DMs telling me how beautiful your life is. Telling me, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. But here it is. My life is wonderful. And I will be sprinkling confetti. So this hit me tonight. But one more thing hit me tonight. There you go, Cyber. Don't give a hoot. Who? Don't give a hoot, honey. Drop an owl in the chat if you feel me. I'm just being silly. But it is the frequency, not the length of time. You see, we could change our lives in 24 hours, you know. Neville said so. It's not the length of time, it is the frequency of the feeling of the wish fulfilled. But Angela, what does the feeling of the wish fulfilled? Tell me what that means before I go into the silence, because I want to go into the silence understanding what it means. The feeling of the wish fulfilled means you have caught the mood or the mental attitude of your success, of your accomplishment. That's what the feeling of the wish fulfilled means. So tonight, my beautiful friends, as we slide into the silence for 5 minutes, as we slide into the silence for 5 minutes, catch the mood. I told you guys this morning. Catch the mood. How long can you hold that mood for? And how many times throughout the day can you hold that mood? Can you call it up at will and hold it? If you put your practice there and your mind and your attention there, you think you will hear the gossip about you? No, you won't. You think you will hear who like you and who don't like you? No, you won't. You know why? Because as within, so without. Your attention is wholeheartedly on the what? The mood of your success. He says, your assumption to be effective cannot be a single isolated act. It must be a maintained attitude. Of what? A maintained attitude. So it is the frequency, not the length of time, that makes it natural to you. Ah, let us go into the silence. You know what you want to experience, or you know what you want to become in the world. Do you? Well, do you? Let's pull a Clint Eastwood tonight. But do you? Do you feel lucky, punk? Sorry, I cracked me up. But listen, do you know what you want to become? Good. So long as you know, don't judge it. Just say, that is what I want to become. Step two, what would you do in the outside world if you had become this thing you wanted to become? Well, rehearse in imagination what you would do in reality. And step three, a feeling, a feeling. Feel the feeling of the accomplishment. How many times? Well, scripture tells you 70 times 7. It doesn't mean the number at 490. It just means it is the frequency, not the length of time, that determines your success. So now you have all 3 steps. Know what you want. Rehearse in imagination what you say you've become. And then feel how it makes you feel to be it. And what did it tell you last night? If you can make that feeling pleasurable, then your work is easier. Let us go into the silence for 5 minutes. And there concludes our 5 minutes. Practice for the love of God in all things. Practice selecting your mood, sustaining your mood, and persisting in the selecting and sustaining of your mood. Practice. Oh, viewing pleasure. Well, sometimes viewing pleasure, sometimes you go where you're led, right? I appreciate you being here, viewing pleasure. Queen Marat and the girls. Ow. Oh, she exercising. Ooh, you working on your fitness. Ow. Hey, Cyber and Faith. Burnt skin. Ow. Ah, trying to see who else is here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see you all. And Burnt Skillet, I see you. KZ, my dearest. Flo Smiles. Moon and Dolphin Duck. I see y'all. I see you. Well, Twitter is as Twitter is, right? Anyhow, don't. Oh, wait. Chime. Listen, I got that stuff in the oven slow cooking at 270 degrees. Ow. Ooh, the house smells divine. Oh, yes, it does. Hallelujah. So as we hear the chime tonight, just just know that you are amazing. You truly are. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love to each and every one of you. And I don't know if I'm going live tomorrow because I'll be awake all night, I'm sure. Because, cooking and baking and, well, gotta make Christmas cookies. The young whippersnapper loves those Christmas cookies and always says, Mama, listen, we could be in the middle of July. He says, Ma, can you make some Christmas cookies? I tell you, he has no shame. He is shameless in his persistence. I could stand to learn a thing or two. So that's what I'll be doing. But I don't know if I'll go live, but uh, I want to. I'll set the alarm. I'll set the alarm for 7. And we'll have a quick moment, and then I'll get back to the kitchen. Yeah. Anyhow, I'll see you on the morrow, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can say hello to each other for the ho ho ho. Peace out. Peace out, y'alls. Peace out.